Ha 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 ha, and the fun begins. We didn't untie them and take them to water last night. Or should I say, number one didn't. So this morning's it. And of course, these guys have, unless they were born in this pen, and they've never been in this particular pen, so they don't know that that's the water over there, even though he's staring at it. One thing I've always told the kids, you can say whatever you want to these critters, as long as you do it in the right tone of voice. You can call that animal every bad name you can think of, but if you do it in the right voice, they'll be calm about it. And it looks like I got a little tote of oats. Well, tote of grain. That would be number one's future father-in-law pulling in. They get the bag that we filled yesterday when the feed truck was here. I think that was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. I remember this stuff. This is Friday, in case you're wondering. Plan for today is get some manure hauled out. Should be cleaning seed, so I got something to plant, but we got to get manure out too. These guys don't know whether to be scared or what. And those guys are still like, what's going on? Well, we'll get you more in a little bit. See how they do. Really should have got some other stuff done today, but we needed to clean this out on a day that wasn't raining so I could set everything outside and redo it. This is not really the place for most of this stuff. I mean, the pallets and the empty bags, yeah. And that bag there has, I don't know, about 300 or 400 pounds of oat seed left in it. A couple holy bags covering things. There's an old welder, air compressor, water pump on a pallet right here. And that pallet with the air cleaner on top, that's got the parts for that cat skid steer motor. Most of them are covered up. The air cleaner's not. It came off recently, so it got put on top. And the high part there is my tires, skinny tires for the new sprayer when we get it together. I only need 3, so one will be a spare. And some friends gave me the shelving and the particle board for it. I don't think much of particle board, and I don't know where to put the shelving. So I'm not sure what to do with that. Most of the stuff on this pallet's for the service truck. That pump's not, it's just a spare. And the wheel weights will go on that Odie, that little 135 we got this summer. But made a little room. This is usually where we keep the grain totes. But I still got someplace to put everything in. Gee, since we had such a wonderful hay and straw crop this year, I have no room to put anything. Yeah. Different story. We did not get to that mess. That is still there. And number one decided she's going to slip in the house and take a shower. Her and number two are staying at their other grandmother's house tonight, while my father-in-law and my brother-in-law are headed to eastern Montana to go hunting. And that one's supposed to be one of those steers for some kid. He was a perfect gentleman when he was still on pasture and still a bull. Number one would go in to feed, and he would greet her every day, and she'd scratch him on the back, and he'd step out of a feed hole to let her get up on top to feed everybody else. But he got really high-headed after he got banded. When we separated him off the cows almost a week ago now, he just about took a couple fences out. Luckily, he was smart enough to stop with everybody else. But he was busy nosing the fence and thinking about it. So I don't know what we're going to do with him. Right before I turn the camera on, you see there's kind of a bare spot by the water trough and a pile of straw pushed up by the gate. That's where he jumped from this side of the water trough and landed on his backside on the other side of the water trough. And yeah, she's used to dealing with the idiots. And the bad thing is, you get one like that in here that's being high-headed and a dumbass, it rubs off on the rest, no matter how good they are. But these boys are being nice so far. We switched him around this morning and went bull steer, and he was out of that gap right there. Kind of hoping it'd help chill him out a little bit. But in the meantime, he's being a jackwad. His name, number one's been calling him Big John. So I laughed. I said, yeah, we're changing his name. It's Jack. And number one and number two both had a couple steers over the years for fair that they would change their names for a little while until they settled down. So I always called them by their first name, Jack. They generally didn't use his last name, Ass, unless they're really mad at him. But in the meantime, number two's stuck dealing with the jerk. And I'm supposed to be here to help her get him tied back up. Yeah, more to come. I really wished I'd have got him on video over there. Would have been great. Didn't happen. You know, you never got it in your hand when the exciting thing stuff comes up. And by the way, it was supposed to rain today, and it finally started. Just enough it's damp out. But before it rained, that middle tree by the gap, I don't know what it is. It's some ornamental thing neighbor planted years ago, like about 5 or 6 neighbors ago. And it's got weird needles on it. The wind was doing some weird stuff, and it was raining needles, even clear down here in the barn. We were out here, I was on the skid steer getting pelted in the face with needles. And when it quit doing that, then the rain hit. So anyway, I'll get some more on this one later. I should just set a camera up here and stare at him. But then I'd be hours going through to find the right moment to show everybody. I will watch him be a real smart guy and poop in his trough, and then everybody else has to drink it. Sometimes they are that smart, but I made a comment to a guy earlier. I usually like it when we're at the other end of the barn, because the other end's all on concrete, and we only bed underneath them when they're tied. So when you take them to water, they're got a 10-foot wide strip of concrete, and they start playing like that. You can give the halter a little jerk and a tug, and you'll spin them right around and drop them on the ground. And they do that 2 or 3 times, and they realize they shouldn't do it. But over here, they don't have that much disadvantage, so it takes them a little longer to learn. Anyway, I'll get this up in a day or two. It's still Friday, in case anybody was wondering, so hopefully everything's going good for everybody. Catch more later. Hey, I was a little slow. People come yesterday to look at those 2 steers we had tied up, and the one of them who'd just been a puppy dog until the day he got his nuts banded, he was still being a little iffy. So the kid picked another one. Number one's just kicked Big John. He was the one that was being a little iffy. She literally just kicked him out. And yesterday we brought this end one in for him. So he's not doing too bad. He was fighting the halter till we got him tied up, and then he stood there without pulling on it. So I figure that's a good thing. And, you know, they take a little time to get used to this stuff. Oh, and I didn't video anything at all yesterday. I really needed to. Night before last, we had another one of these cars following the detour around who, you know, they just can't figure out how to drive. And the same corner that the one that took the fence and the pole out, I mean, she had an excuse. A deer jumped off the bank in front of her. And yeah, I believe her, because we know the deer had been going through there. Pretty much everybody had seen them jump around through there for about a week before she got in her little accident. But this guy was just pure speed. right where we go in down the road to feed. We go in the driveway down there. I swear every couple of days there was a new mark on the shoulder, and there's a culvert and a gate right beside the driveway that go into our pasture across the road. And they did some numbers on it. A lot of them made it to where they actually crossed the end of the culvert, and this guy missed the gate post by about 2 inches and slid sideways through 100 feet of fence. The post that the gate was tied to was a heavy wall. It's actually 2 pieces of 4-inch angle iron welded together to make a square with about 100 pounds of concrete at the base of it, and it was about 4 feet in the ground. It was pretty much laying on top of the ground. It was braced back to a piece of 4-inch angle iron with about 50 pounds of concrete at the bottom of it. It wiped it all out. Plus, I think there was 3 wood posts and about 5 T-posts. It wiped out about 100 feet total by the time he didn't go through that much, but ruined that much fence. And we were actually going to put the steers down there yesterday. It kind of foiled those plans. I meant to get a video yesterday of the carnage, and I totally spaced it, so it didn't happen. I'll see if I can get down there today and show you the cleaned up work. Oh, number 1 says she's got some video of the carnage. I got some pictures, but I ain't figured out how to put the pictures on yet. So if she can send me a video, and I will slip it in, then we'll get to show it to you. So I'll add to this one, get that carnage in there and get the cleaned up part in there, and hopefully we'll get some fence in quick. So catch me later. Hey, right to our left of us from this power pole down to the next one was all new a couple months ago. This guy went off in the edge of the ditch right in here, into the driveway, missed that gate post by about 2 inches, kicked her sideways, took out all the other posts, and this is what it all looks like now. Cleaned the ditch out for the county since they won't do it. And when they redid the road quite a few years ago, they redid this culvert and put a grate in and connected that culvert to theirs instead of leaving a gap. Then they've left the ditches go, so all the water doesn't get to the culvert. It ran across, and there was like 2 or 3 freaking tank traps in there. I couldn't hardly get through there with a fertilizer buggy about 5 years ago. Almost took the clutch out of it trying to get through their tank traps. So it's been kind of hard to fertilize this down here. And I just took all that dirt out of their ditch and the hump where the fence was and filled all that in. And now I get to get a hold of the county and say, why don't you clean this ditch up so I don't have to keep dealing with your crap? Because there is no ditch here. In fact, there's no ditch up along that road either. They re-graveled that about 10 years ago, and then it rained. And it put about 40 yards of gravel out in the pasture. So there's some really good spots out there where the gravel's actually about 6 or 8 inches thick. You'll never get stuck going across it. The grass finally grew back in. So that's how we got stuff. Here's the only ditch. Comes out of that culvert, which catches half the water off this side road, and then runs it into the pasture anyway. That only gets it off the other side because, as you can see, there's no ditch on this side of it. There used to be. They used to keep it cleaned out. Now if they do anything for a ditch, it's way up toward the other end, and then they cut it out underneath the fence so that it washes the pasture out when it rains like hell. So hey, I think this is probably going to wrap this video up. I'll throw these all together and make something for you. Actually, I might wait. We're gonna go check out the new bridge, the one that's caused us so many headaches for the last 3 months that the road's been closed. And apparently it's open, and it seems that we have a lot less traffic today. Usually this has been a super highway and can't hardly move anything, can't hardly even get a tractor out of the driveway onto the road. So we'll pick that up here in just a minute. Okay, here's a new bridge. Trying to figure this out. It's supposed to be illegal to have a bridge on a corner, and we all thought they were going to straighten this out, because where we're at right now on the other side over here is in a straight line, but the bridge still comes over here. And 3 months worth? I don't think so. That was supposed to have been raised up so the water didn't go over the top of it anymore, and they didn't do squat. Typical. It's kind of like the other, what is it, 10 roads they got closed in the county where they're doing stuff like that. Not really doing much for them. I'll show you what they should have done, because it's just down here a ways. Be there in a minute. Okay, here's the one they did about 10 years ago. This one they did a nice job. And it's straight, and it's not down where it floods over. So, anyway. Hey, hit the like button. Thank you for watching. Make a comment. Ding the bell. That makes the girls laugh. See? So, I'll get this one together in a little bit. Then you can all see all the fun. Until next time, y'all have a good one.